Hello, I'm Fencka and welcome to another episode of Let's Play King's Bounty Armored Princess. So, we are playing as a mage on impossible difficulty and we are trying to finish the game with no losses. Last time it was more or less just an introduction. We got our pet dragon and we finished the tutorial to get to level 2, and today we need to get some army, at least some like basic units that can do more than just die after a first hit. And I'd like to get maybe a few levels, do some exploring, because if you want to just run into the fighting without like decent preparations on impossible, and especially if you want to go without losses, it doesn't really work. So we will have to do some exploring and prepare for the fighting. So first of all, we need to talk to Captain Bogart. We'll get some quests from him, and then we'll explore the beer a little bit. The beer, is the island that we are currently on. I greet you, Amelia. I hope you have come to distract me from my work because you have something important afoot. Do you have any questions I could help you with? So, maybe you can find or give me a job. Work? There's always work to be done, of course. I have a number of people lined up already, but I won't turn down the offer of some extra help. I have 2 contracts on the go. Choose whichever interests you. One of them involves finding an enemy spy, and the second is to take care of the leader of a gang of thieves. So let's start with the spy. Pretty funny story, actually, how this thing with the spy turned out. So the spy, a hireling of Dominion, snuck his way into the palace. He managed to get hold of the keys to the secret archives and remove their protective spells. Whether he was frightened away at the last moment, or maybe it was simply that he didn't know how to read, well, it's anyone's guess, but the point is that this fool, rather than stealing some valuable information, made off with last year's tax records. Plomy, I wish I had been around to see his face when he found out what he'd taken. His Majesty was likewise amused by the unlucky wretch, but he nevertheless signed the decree ordering the spy's capture. In my world, Andoria, there are no tax records. Instead, we use a system of bludgeons, very simple and effective. That's just like. How do you say it? It's something that you had to work with in the previous game in the Legends. There was a quest very early in the game where you had to collect some bludgeons. You know, that reminds me, according to His Majesty's decree, the enemy spy is to be found and punished. Maybe a proper example of to deter all the other spies and enemies of the state. The spy must be still hiding somewhere on the island. He couldn't escape because every ship that sets sail is closely inspected. There is, of course, a reward for capture of this spy. So, we will accept. Then, we will accept the other contract as well. So, young lady, are you sure about this? Maybe you had better look for work elsewhere. I deal with common criminals and crooks, but if you insist, perhaps you saw the announcement that the leader of the robbers, one Curly Eyes, has attracted quite a decent bounty on his head. His portrait is printed on wanted posters. You'll see them plastered all over the place. I'm interested in the leader of the gang of thieves, so let's learn a little bit more about him. We have recently ascertained that a series of assaults on the good people of the beer have in fact been quite carefully planned. The thieves responsible for the attack are part of the Knife and Axe gang, which is led by the notorious gangster Curly Eyes. We must track down this heartless leader and put him out of commission. His hideout is rumored to be somewhere in the woods towards the heart of the island. So we accept this one as well. And is there anything else that we need to know? Not really. I won't read everything. We can buy another boat here, but we already have one, so we don't care about that. And how can we leave the island? Here he will tell us, if I remember correctly, that to go anywhere else than like this island. We need to find charts that will reveal world map. We can actually check the world. This is the island that we are currently on, but we can switch to world map. So this is the island that we are currently on. Everything else is hidden under the clouds. So as we find charts, it will reveal more and more continents and islands, and we will be able to move in between them. So that's basically what he would tell us. No reason to read that. Now, what we want is to check, there are 3 shops here, so check what we have available and then start picking up as many things as we can reach without fighting. As you can see, there are mobs running around that we need to avoid for now, because even like the easiest or basically the first pack that we would have to fight here is invincible, which is the highest difficulty. It goes from invincible all the way down to very weak. And yeah, at this point, everything basically will be invincible for us. So what else do we have here? Remember, we have not even 2,000 gold, so we won't really be buying much right now. This is important to remember. If we collect 5 of these, we can connect them and get a pretty nice artifact. Mana potions will be useful later. The units that he offers are not really that interesting. Next shop, Sebastian. I greet you, my child. May the blessings of the Lord rain down upon you always. Indeed, I see you break the mark of a child of the gods, although to me these gods are not familiar. A servant of gods. I thought this was a doctor's home. Perhaps I went to the wrong house by mistake. No, you are not mistaken. I am a doctor. All my life, I have devoted my energies towards serving the goddess of life, healing the suffering with prayers and herbs. When King Dominion banned the churches, I fled Verona and settled here. Now I wish to collect enough funds to build an orphanage on the island. In the meantime, I continue to help people working as a physician to attend to their ailments and diseases. Maybe you are looking for healing, but I see that your spirit and body are healthy. So as usual, basically when we see this sign above a building or above a person, it means that there is a quest. And if there is this one, just the golden one, that means that's a shop, if I remember correctly. So we can see that basically even before we enter a building, we can get a quest here. So let's talk about that. Maybe I can do something for you. I think perhaps you can. I'm sure that sooner or later you will enter Montero. Of course, I do not possess the powers of high priest or saints, but sometimes I can see the future. Not long ago, I visited my friend, a merchant Thorberg, and he described the horrors that are plaguing Montero. There is an airy monster there, which the dwarves call the Hungry Beast, and it is absolutely terrorizing the poor townsfolk. Every month it demands a baby from each dwarven settlement and then devours it. Quite dreadful. That's awful. How can I help? This monster is exacting a terrible toll from the dwarves, and it simply must be destroyed. Unfortunately, I cannot offer you any gold, for all my savings are to be spent on the consumption of construction of a new church. But I can offer you runes of mind, and I believe the experience will be useful to you. Can you help the poor dwarves? So we definitely help. But here we can see that the reward is really high, 1530 experience. That's a pretty pretty high amount, which means this quest is something that we won't be able to do until much later in the game. You can basically guess really well how difficult each quest is when you look at the experience reward. The higher the experience, the more difficult. So yeah, this will have to wait. For now, the quest that we can do will give us around 100 experience or something like that. Okay, so we accept. So that's done, and now we want to look at his goods. We are not only looking at units, we are also looking at spell scrolls. We are looking specifically for a spell called Trap. Then we are looking for a spell called Target. We want to get Heal, just a simple heal. And what else do we need? We need stone skin. We could use haste. I'm not sure. We might already have that one. And is there anything else? Those are the basics, because we already have slow and we have flaming arrow. Those spells are like the early game, mid game spells that I would like to have. Later we want to add things like hypnosis, sheep, and for the end game, if we find it, it would be great to get Geyser. And if we can get that one, I think I would just base my late game strategy around that, and I think that would be the easiest way how to go through the end game without losses. Okay, so here we are interested in Inquisitors. That's a unit that we will have in the army for a very long time. Basically, I would say until we switch to the Geyser setup, if we get Geyser. It's possible that we will have Inquisitors in the army until the end of the game. They're not as strong in Armored Princes as they are in some of the other games, but they are still pretty damn good because they generate rage. So here we have slow, we already have that one. Excuse me. And now we can visit the Royal University. Please don't be afraid. Within the walls of our university, you shall fear no one. My name is Leicester. I am the rector of this wonderful and, of course, highly academic institution. And who are you? I'm quite sure that I have not seen you before, for I have a wonderful memory for names and faces. My name is Amelia. So what brings you to our university, Amelia? Can I help you with something? We can actually start with checking his inventory. Okay, here... we are also checking for items, of course, for gear. This guy has actually 3 items that we are interested in. Spear of Rage, that's probably the least interesting one, but 20% increase or improved rage generation is quite nice until we get the like passive skills that do the same. So if we have some spare money and spare weapon slot, we may actually buy this one. Once we get a lot more money, we definitely want to buy a Banner of Faith. I don't really care about the rage or the crit chance of paladins. I won't be using paladins. What we care about is that after we get 50 victories with this item equipped, we can get 10 mind runes out of it, which are pretty important. Maroons, that's what this game is basically about. So this one is really good, and then there is Champion's Belt, which gives 150 leadership. Leadership from items is quite important, especially early. Here, if we had the money, this item by itself would double our leadership at this point. So yeah, we are definitely interested as well. So that's good to remember. Here's one of the spells that we want, but I'm pretty sure that you'll find heal at some point. So, actually, before I forget, let's throw these away there. I will try to only recruit units that we will be using like until the end of the game, so that I don't waste money basically. But I will probably have to recruit at least... if we get either Cyclops or Paladin, some early tanks, I will see about that. But that will come later. For now, we can also get some work here. So let's talk about that. Of course, you have come at just the right time, Amalia. The fact is that recently thunderous waves have thrown ashore a terrible creation which our experts have named the Monster of the Abyss. This creature has turned out to be quite lively and unexpectedly voracious. Everyone who has attempted to study it has been flattened on the spot. Most unfortunate, this means that despite the high degree of interest in this class of animal amongst our colleagues, further study of the specimen simply cannot continue. Instead, we feel this creature should be destroyed as soon as possible. Naturally, anyone undertaking this project will be well rewarded. So yeah, here we can see that the experience reward here is not even 100 gold. So this is the like quest level that we should be able to do in the near future. Not right now. Right now we'd get destroyed, but like this is an early game quest for us. So let's accept it. And now we're gonna board the ship. Which way we want to go? This way. We can sail around the whole island, but for now I think we will only... Like, we'll check some things that we can reach before we get caught by the monsters that are guarding all of it. I can't move. There we go. Okay, I can dig up the chest along the way and jump on the ship to get out of these, or away from these. We can kite these mobs on the world map, and that's what we're gonna be doing a lot. We basically want to reach as much of the loot that's on the world map as possible without fighting. And basically every time we discover a new island or continent, this is what we're gonna start with. Just get as many things as we can without fighting anything. Here is Fisherman Takeshi. I won't really read this. This is just a quick side quest. So basically what he wants is like a permit to sell devilfish that they are fine for consumption. We will just bring one specimen of the fish to the mages, and they will test it. And after they test it, they will give us a paper that will allow Takeshi to sell his fish to the people of the beer. We can pick up these spider eggs. And here I need a permit to sell fish. There they will say that they need a specimen to test it. All they do is that they eat the fish. And now we get the paper. We go back and deliver the permit. So that's the first quest finished. It's not much, but we have to start somewhere. Okay, so this is our reward. And now we can check his inventory, which is just the fish that we don't really care about. We can pick up this sprout. I think I'm gonna wait for these inquisitors to move away. They should move far, or maybe they won't move far enough. That's unfortunate. I thought that I might be able to pick up the mind rune. No, they seem to be moving. And we will have to do some kiting around here, because I need this. Okay, so that's that. Here, there is no way we'd be able to get this charged. This thing is incredibly fast. Okay, now we need to do some kiting here. This one is gonna be... I should probably... create a save file just in case I fail and something catches me. I will reload from time to time here, especially if I fail at kiting, or actually, well, sometimes I will have to even reload if I make mistake when fighting. Yeah, something like that. Sometimes it's really hard to judge how much room you have when you are doing something. So I will reload. This sucks. Let's jump back on the ship. How do I get behind them? So I had enough room to just run. They are really slow. So I was convinced that there was more than enough room. There we go. Okay, we want to talk to this guy. No, that's not what I wanted. Here he can give us 2 runes. We want the green ones. And now we need to go away from the fish, not get caught by the bear, and talk to the priestess Pythian. This is the Temple of Hope that the king told us about, and we want to talk to them about another stone. I'm delighted to welcome you to the Temple of Hope, my child. I'm Pythian, priestess of the temple. My name is Amelia. Yes, I know, you are the child of the prophecy. Do not be surprised, Amelia. I see the stone of courage with you. As a youth, I was a prophetess, and the power of the gift is not fully extinguished in me. Sometimes I see the signs and can feel when change is on the horizon. You come for the stone of hope. Priestess, I do require the stone of hope indeed. The Stone of Hope. This is a serious request, but I know of your quest to fulfill the prophecy. Serve the temple, and the stone will be yours, child. The service of which I speak concerns the retrieval of an artifact relic, the Amulet of Illumination, which was left by our priest in a place as amazing as its dangers in the catacombs of the island of Bolo. Okay, it looks like I have no choice. So that's the quest. Now we can check the goods. So again, just Inquisitor's priest. I may have to recruit some priest, but I would rather avoid that if I could, because again, the more unit types that I recruit, especially if I know that I won't be using those unit types for long, it's like spending money on things that are not necessary, and we won't really have that much money, so I would like to avoid that. Only really go for units that I know will be in the army for a while. So you don't want to buy anything here. We can talk to her a little bit more because this is the main quest. I think I should do that. So you spoke of being a prophetess. Yes, and a very powerful one, but alas, I broke one of the 100 sacred vows which every prophet must respect if they are to retain their power to foresee the future. My gift has since faded, although sometimes some spark awakens in me. Can you see anything now? You can see anything of my future? Your future, I'll try. The priestess closes her eyes and places her palm across your forehead. For a few moments, she silently moves her lips in prayer, then opens her eyes. I see a bright golden glow and nothing more. Your future is hidden from my power. This is not surprising. It is easy to see the fate of ordinary people who gather the harvest, feed the livestock, or live to do battle. But your future remains a mystery. And the last thing, I'm seeking knowledge and I have many questions. So let's talk about all of this. Yeah, questions. I would be pleased to try and answer them. Thousands of books are kept in the library of the temple. First of all, I'm looking for a knight, Bill Gilbert. Do you know anything of him? A knight known as Bill Gilbert? I do not know. Sometimes I have a dream in which I see a wonderful place. It is a beautiful island somewhere far away in the sky, and in the midst of some fair abyss stands a noble knight. The wind flaps his coat, and he stares unblinkingly into the distance. Behind the knight stands angels bearing gifts. Suddenly, the knight's face is contorted in anger, and he falls violently upon the crying angels as I awaken in horror. Then we can learn about... let's talk about the temple first. Our temple, unlike the temples of joy and sorrow, was established well before the appearance of stones. Hope is the first to be born and the last to die. So it is said, and there is truth in these words. Is life even possible without hope? With our prayers, we bring people hope and healing, strengthen their resolve, and restore the faith they once had in themselves. In this temple, we open our doors to anyone who needs our aid. Then we can talk about the prophecy. The angel was a faithful servant of the god of war, doing his bidding faithfully for 10,000 years, until war threatened the well-being of the beautiful priestess Liu of Elon, who had long since captured his heart. His love was pure, and he found that he could sow the seed of death no longer. For the very first time he disobeyed the god of war, flinging down his sword defiantly at the feet of his master and ending the war of the millennia. But the god of war was ruthless. He sent innumerable hordes of dragons to Ellen, and the angel's dearest love perished in flames. As further punishment, the god made the angel mortal, forcing him to spend his days wandering Tena and a feeble, gray-haired old man. The unhappy angel long mourned the loss of his beloved, but wherever he wandered, folk gathered around him, humans and elves alike, offering comfort and consolation and praising his noble act of rebellion, which he had undertaken in the name of love and peace. Slowly, painfully, the heart of the angel began to beat anew, filled with gratitude for the concern of the mortals. He shared with the mortals many secrets of the universe and explained the purpose of the Stones of Power so that they might protect the world of Tiana from chaos. He explained why the gods gave the mortals such an amazing gift. And these are the words spoken by the angel known by the name of Oracle. And when chaos descended over Tiana, an envoy of peace will come amongst you, a child of the gods. Only she may touch the stones and absorb their power. After gathering all 8 stones, the envoy will awaken Tiana and destroy the evil which threatens its peace. Her reward shall be the fulfillment of her truest dream. Centuries have passed since many have attempted to touch the power of the gods, but after placing their hand upon the stones have found themselves forever petrified. So that's the prophecy of the angel. And now about the stones themselves. What can we learn? Long ago, Tiana was created in 8 days by the 8 gods. When the great races finally made their appearance, each race was entrusted with a sacred stone of power bestowed by one of their 8 gods. Their purpose, however, was kept secret. We are told to guard them jealously and use them in our rituals of worship. Yet whosoever dared to lay a hand upon one of the stones would be instantly turned to stone. These gifts of the gods were sheltered in temples, but even temples are not spared the ravages of time. Wars ravaged the lands, temples were destroyed, many died, and the fate of the survivors was exhausted. Only 4 stones remained secure within the walls of the temples, while the other 4 were scattered across the world. Centuries later, these had been collected together in Verona and were in the hands of Frederick's father. But Frederick's father, King Helmut, was killed by conspirators. Was he not? Yes, that is true. Being in possession of the Stone of the Gods did not bring him luck. The Stone of Courage the king passed on to his son Helmut. The usurper Demenian won the other 3, but kept only at the Stone of Hatred for himself. The Stone of Knowledge he gave as payment to his cruel servant, the Dark Elf Zelgadis, to aid him in his revenge upon his fellow creatures. The Stone of Wrath is now somewhere in Reha, in the claws of the Lizardman King Tahu, who reigns over the tribe of blood-crazed killers. And the other 4 stones, where are they? Have they remained in temples? The Stone of Hope has never left this temple. For a long time we have not heard anything from the Temple of Joy ever since Zala Island was overrun by orcs. In the Temple of Love, which lies across the Infinite Bridge, lies the 3rd stone. That is, if it's not yet fallen into the hands of Dominion. The Stone of Sadness is in a temple on Tekron. I'm sure that the dwarves who guard the temple have saved this stone, for it is closely associated with the history of the entire dwarven race. I don't really have any questions, so let's talk about something else. Okay, so we've talked about that, and that means we can leave. We're gonna pause the game and save here, because once again, just in case I fuck something up, I don't want to be forced to replay too much. Also, the like the controls are a little bit clunky. So sometimes, even though you're like clicking somewhere, the uh, like the character is not really doing exactly what you want. Maybe it's because of the size of the character model. When you are on the horse, I mean, when you enter like underground or indoor areas, you go there without the horse, and it's so much easier to control Amelia when she is like going afoot. When you are on the horse, just the size of the model sometimes causes trouble. So sometimes you just can't do anything, and the or Amalia just does whatever she wants, or it at least feels that way. Okay, so here, this is what I wanted to know. If you remember last time, I talked about that I prepared this save file, basically, after I checked that we have access to Royal Thorns, and I wanted to have at least 4 available. So here they are. 4 Royal Thorns. We can't recruit them yet, because to get 1 we need at least 380 leadership, but it's just important that they are here. There are 4 of them, and this should be enough for us to get through the early game. Okay, now I could go here, perhaps. We can pick up some more stuff. Just have to be careful not to run into anything. There is some more leadership. These flags are pretty important. There are 3 colors. And we want to pick up all that we find. Here is old abandoned castle full of undead that we don't care about for now. The fight is really annoying. Actually, that's something that I could mention here. Here we can see that there is a hero called Burut here. He's a level 5. He has attack, defense, intellect, mana, plus he has units. And when we check, for example, these guys, this is just a random pack of mobs that maybe is invincible, sure, but they don't have a hero with them. So those are 2 different types of fights. And in Armored Princess, all of the hero fights are pretty annoying, because I think, maybe not all, but vast majority of the heroes are using direct damage spells that are like almost impossible to mitigate. It's much easier to avoid taking damage from mobs than like avoid spells taking damage from heroes. Okay, that's not what I wanted. Crap. Just need to get through to the ship. It might be a little bit tricky. Okay, there we go. Now, this is the spy that we are supposed to kill. He won't attack us until we talk to him, so we can just pick up everything that's around him, dig up the chest, pick up the seed. And now we will just get back to the castle. So now we have circumnavigated the island, and now we need a way to get out of the island. The easiest way, and again, I will have to save the game here. Should be able to kite these around there. Is this the same pack that was guarding the rune here? It might be. Okay, next thing that we need, and this is gonna be difficult, is to kite these guys away from the chart. The groups of mobs that are guarding charts have like a different aggro range and different behavior compared to the like normal mobs, so they are much more difficult to kite around. But there are some on specific places in the game that can actually be kited, and I think it's intentional because the devs wanted you to be able to like progress through the game in a specific way if you like know what to look for. I think without this, playing on impossible would be, well, maybe not impossible, but ridiculously difficult. I think this is intended what I'm gonna do. We got magic shackles. That's an interesting spell that we probably want to keep. Unfortunately, this pack is coming back. Oh, great. They're slow, so we can get around them. We can check this shop here. There is a straw hat that gives 20 leadership. That's very little. We will eventually buy this thing. At some point, we will learn to turn artifacts into either magic crystals, or if we get lucky, into runes. So at that point, we will buy this and turn it into magic crystals. But for now, this is just the worst that you can get. Don't need anything here. Is there... Oh, there is nothing here, so we can loot anything that we find. The positioning of monsters is like random or semi-random on the map, so I don't know where we can expect like packs of mobs. If I save here, for example, this red monster sometimes can spawn up here. So, oh, I unpaused. I'm an idiot. I thought that I had the game paused. You just have to be careful with what you are doing, where you're moving. Okay, so I need the dragonflies to fly where they were before. And then we will kite the other pack towards us here, as far as possible. And now we pick up the charts that will reveal the Scarlet Wind, and here we will just get some extra range. This is extra maximum range, so it increased from like, I think we had 10 to 13 forever. And now we have to get out of there, which was way too close for comfort. But we have what we came for, and without any fighting, we can move to the next island and keep picking up loot without fighting anyone. I might even be able to pick up the flag here before the guards or patrol come back. Now we know that the dragonflies are really slow, so we can... Let's actually save the game before I do anything. But we can pull them towards us and run around. Where is the second pack of dragonflies? There, okay. We will run past. Excellent, so... That's the first island done for now. We have picked up most of the things that are reachable without fighting. If I really wanted to try hard, there are some more things that I probably could have gotten, but it would take forever. So now we board the ship and sail to Scarlet Wind, which is a pirate island. And here the encounters are even more difficult. With every new island, the game gets more and more difficult, so you have to prepare for the fighting. You can, of course, go on new islands as you discover them, loot as much as you want until or unless you get caught, but we are definitely not ready for fighting here. I could try to steal this chest, because the fish are quite slow. I should be able to pick it up before they even notice us. Actually, it surprised me that they didn't even notice us. There are some chests floating around the island, so let's pick those up. This will give us some gold to work with, and after we pick up everything that is easy to reach, then we will talk to some people. Still didn't get a single spell that I wanted to get my hands on. I got that. Is there anyone here? No. We can pick up this chest. Quite a few crystals. Dig up a chest here. Okay, we got lucky here, I think, that we managed to get this chest as well so easily. Now, here, if I remember correctly, there might be... No, I thought that there might be a chest hidden here, but there is not. So let's pick up this one. The problem that I currently see is that we don't have access to trap yet. Okay, we will land here, pick up the flag, and talk to this guy, who is called Jimmy Crowd. And I won't read everything that we're gonna talk about. If you want to read everything, just pause the game, please. I will only probably read things that are important for the main story. There are so many side quests that you can do in a few minutes, basically. But if you read everything, then from few minutes you suddenly have, like, I don't know, 15, 20. And if I read everything, this series would probably be like 3 times as long, and I don't want that. I mostly want to focus on a flawless game, not losing anything. I don't want to read through every single word. So, and once again, you will have the option to pause the video if you want to read everything for yourself. Okay, so... what is your name? That's the next step. Then we can learn a little bit about him from this option. So for those who are interested, he'll tell us about his scars and about how he saved his basically girlfriend from sharks, but got bitten or almost eaten by the sharks in the process, if I remember correctly, and she then left him because he was scarred. And we can offer him to join us for the journey, which he happily accepts. And now we have gained 4 more inventory slots. These companions that can join you, there are multiple ones, have like different abilities. Jimmy specializes in boosting pirates. Like I don't mean pirates specifically, like the unit that is called pirate, but pirate. Like the group of units that you would call pirates. So pirates, sea dogs, robbers, marauders, all of these guys are like in the group of unit that are considered like pirates or brigands or whatever. So nothing that we are interested in. We won't be using these units. We are taking this guy just because he gives us the option to equip 4 more items. Later we want to replace him because there will be like much better companions, especially for us as a caster. We want a companion that can help us cast, give us mana. But for now, 4 inventory slots are great, and soon we're gonna need them. By the way, what we gonna need, let me count, 4 and 5. So we can pick up these two. It's important that we pick up Distortion Magic as soon as possible, because Distortion Magic, we need to learn Trap. And after that, we probably want Order. From Order, we want Transmute. Transmute is busted in combination with Royal Seeds. I mean Royal Thorns. But we also want Glory to get the extra leadership. So how do we do this? We definitely want to take Glory as a priority. Then we want to take... I should have enough for this and for Distortion Magic. I think this is the necessary start. Now we can check the spell book if there are spells that we are interested in. I won't be learning all the spells. I will actually, I probably won't even be able to keep the scrolls, because while you can have more scrolls than is your like spellbook capacity, when you reach the limit or get above the limit, you can't buy anymore. So at some point the game may force me to get rid of scrolls that before I learn them. I'm afraid that I may have problems with crystals if I try to learn all the spells. Well, we definitely need haste, and we definitely want to have magic shackles. Against like some enemies, magic shackles are a must. Other than that, we either can't learn it or don't want to learn it. I'm not really that interested in precision, since we most likely won't be using any archer units. Okay, so that's that. Is there anything we could try to pick up? This and now run away as quickly as possible before the griffin finds us. Let's see, nothing here. I will kite these pirates, or I think they are called sea dogs, away if they follow. Good boy. Oh, they didn't. Can I move this way? No, I can't move this way. I wanted to kite them. Can I kite them even farther away? I need to buy myself some time so that I can get to that altar there, because the altar gives experience. Come to me, come on. I hope this will be enough. And now we need to go fast, because this should be level 3. There we go. Runes. A little bit more leadership. So that's out of the way. Now we can save again. Once again, I don't want to be forced to replay too much in case I fail with something. It's quite easy to sometimes miss a group of mobs when you have a wrong camera angle and they're like hidden behind the tree or something. So here we can land without any worries. This is a quest, so they won't attack until we basically start the quest and decide to fight. Let's pick up everything that's around here. Isn't there something that we could dig up around here? It's not super important. The chests this early don't really have that much in them, but we have one of the awards is for picking up certain amount of chests. And I think the reward for that is more experience gained. So that would be nice to get very early. Oh, okay. So that's one very important find. Definitely need to learn trap. Did I pick up the chest that's behind this tiny island? I think I did. Okay, now we can talk to the locals. At least some of them. Have to be careful not to land too early and get attacked. There's another scroll here. And we can talk to Hunk. Hey, who's there? The pirate is dead drunk. He has trouble raising his head to look at you and is barely able to talk without hiccuping. Oh, actually, I said that I won't read the stuff that's not connected to the main quest. So let's just go through the dialogue. And again, if you want to read it, pause the game. I mean, pause the video. We will talk about the rob cuttlefish. If I remember correctly, learn that he has a hideout on the island. What is it like to live here? Yeah, that's a lot of reading. Okay, so that's done. Now we can visit the tavern. You better keep your hands to yourself if you want them stay attached to your arms. Sounds like a good answer. First, let's talk about work. We will get a quest to, I think, kill someone. Yeah, rogue named Goodman. Kill Goodman. So we accept. We can talk about the guy that we just talked to in front of the tavern. Why not? Learn a little bit more about him. We can pay a few gold for some more news. I'm actually not sure if you get anything interesting out of this. Probably not, but I will go through all the options. And now we can check the shop, and holy crap, I don't remember ever having royal thorns here. There are some like other shops on these early islands where there is a chance for the royal thorns to spawn. I'm not sure if like there is a chance that they can spawn anywhere, just a small chance, and it's decided in random, but I don't think I've ever seen them here. So this is good. We actually have access to 7 royal thorns now for the early game. I'm not even sure that we will get like enough leadership to have them before we progress to what's the important milestone before we get to Verona, the first large continent. Okay, because once we get there, once we get on the large continent, then some things that are important now become irrelevant because we will just get access to almost infinite amounts of certain types of units. So these guys left. Ariana, we can talk to her as well, but I don't think she will tell us anything important. This is actually quite disappointing. Only +1 helmet, +3 X is interesting, But paying 20,000, if this dropped somewhere would be great, but paying 20,000 plus 4 plus 3 attack, which is a stat that we don't really care about that much, it's a lot of money. So there's nothing here that we are interested in. We can get some quests from her, of course. So let's talk for a bit. We don't need the boat, but we are looking for work. There are two options, Bounty Hunter and the Royal Recruiter. So let's talk about both of them. Accept. Now the Recruiter. Accept. And we can talk about the island itself, and that's all that we can talk about here. Okay, now let me think. We have 380 leadership. How much are Royal Thorns? We should have enough for one, right? It's exactly 380. And we can get 3 Inquisitors. That would be enough for us to start fighting. Exactly 380, yep. So we first we recruit 1 or hire 1 or buy 1 or whatever we want to call it. And we should be able to get the chart from the first island, because there is a chart here, and this is the second pack, and I think there are only 2 packs in the whole game that is guarding a chart and can be kited a little bit. Problem is there are units around it that'll make the kiting maybe even impossible. I don't think I can even try. Now let's go. Or do we want to go back? These guys are lethal. Let me see. Can I do it? One. I should be able to do this with just the thorn, right? I actually never tried this. If we get rid of the Inquisitor, we have 26 mana. Let's see if we can maybe... the Order Magic won't really help us. We need what? We need 7 runes. But this wouldn't help us either. I think this is our best option. Get rid of these skeletons. Because we need to get to the cemetery chapel as soon as possible. We have trap. The problem is that the thorns are slow, like really slow. But with 360 health, it should be fine. I'm gonna save here. This is something I've never tried, so just in case it doesn't work, but I think it should. Okay. So what we need to do here is probably go with trap. And now we start abusing Royal Thorns. So, by themselves, they have ranged attack. That is decent, but nothing like super exciting. They are plant, so they are vulnerable to fire, but they're resistant to poison. We don't have to worry about fire here. I think these guys have a special attack that can poison, so that won't really do that much to us. They're eyeless, so they're immune to blind, and accuracy, which is blind is a negative spell, accuracy is a positive one. and suffer no penalty from oil mist. That's another like effect that affects archers, but since this one is eyeless, he doesn't care, and we have no melee penalty. The most important like part of the Royal Thorn kit is the germination ability that has 2 turns of reload time, and it plants seeds of like lesser thorns. If these guys are given enough time, they can defeat anything. So we spit out the seed and get 36 Thorn Warriors. There are 2 types of these lesser thorns, Thorn Warriors and Thorn. Not sure how the other ones are called. Warriors are melee, the other ones are ranged. And hopefully, thanks to this ability, we will get enough time to basically kill all the skeletons with our spells and with our dragon. Gonna stay. Actually, do we stay here? No. I want to pick up the chest. The good thing about Thorn Warriors is that they have really high initiative. So now we go first. How do I do this? I think at this point I will need the arrow, because I'm not sure where I'd have to place the trap to guarantee that one of the groups triggers it. Okay, we can lose these units because they don't count towards the losses at the end of combat. What I mean when I'm talking about doing a game with no losses is that on the screen at the end of combat there won't be any losses. This doesn't mean that during combat there won't be any units dying. In some fights we will have to resurrect units. We will lose units that we summon, but we can't lose units that we start combat with at the end of combat. We have enough to use the dragon. How much damage do we do with the crushing blow? 6 to 7. Okay, let's push these guys back. This ability does damage and knocks them back. Since the skeletons have movement of 2, this way we move the pack away from melee range next turn. We'll do some damage here. I think we'll just keep picking up chests. Let's see. What I can do... we want to get kills with traps, as many as possible in the shortest possible time. So we will start combining the spell with our dragon. Pick up the chest. And just keep delaying. I hope that this wasn't too much damage. I don't think... I think it was too much damage. Well, we'll attack these guys. There's no way we killed that pack with the trap. Now, let me see. How much damage does... Oh, too much damage. Okay. Well, on the other hand, we can just go with this, because we also need to use Flaming Arrow for another reward. Then we can use Mana Accelerator to make sure we get the maximum amount of experience for our dragon. For every action our dragon does, he gets experience, and we attack this pack. Now the goal is to kill the skeletons with a trap. I mean the skeleton archers with traps. Get the trap here. Crushing blow. There we go. Okay. So that's the first fight. Here we can pick up the chest, get a rune. At this point I would much rather get green runes. I mean, long-term blue are more important, but early we want to get the 3rd level of glory as soon as possible. Now, we can talk to Father Maximus. First of all, let's accept the contract that he gives us, or offers us. This is something that we won't be able to do until much later in the game. As you can see, that's 3000 experience for completion. So this one is pretty damn difficult. That's the quest, and now we can check the shop. There is another important unit, which is the Archmage. We want to buy... well, we can... wait. You'll move him here, you'll move back. How many of these can we get? 3 at this point. We'll buy another Archmage. Put both of them to reserve, and we will buy the last Archmage that will stay on the battlefield. This way, when we get more leadership, I won't have to come back here to buy another Archmage. I'll just have them ready in reserve. It's 140, not 140, 200 leadership, so we are pretty close to another one. Then let me actually do something. Split these. Split these. I'm trying to fill up all of the slots because I'm gonna be checking these graves, and from some of the graves, if we had room in the army, we would get like skeletons or zombies, and I just don't want that. I'm only looking for gold. Okay, so everything else that's on this island we can't kill. I could accept one more contract here in the cave, but to complete that we need to get to an island that we need to reveal still, and it may take a while, so I don't think we need that contract yet. Okay, we are done with Scarlet Wind, or whatever this island is called. Now we want to return to the beer and actually start fighting. Okay, so now you'll see that the fights... actually, those fights are still a little bit more difficult than I expected. I can talk to the mages here. They just complained that after they ate the fish that we delivered to them, they got poisoned, but whatever. Should be fine, right? That's the problem when you are not willing to recruit more than you want to use long term. Let's just try. It should be fine. Okay, because they are flying, we can't kill them with traps, which means we're gonna be using flaming arrow on them. Do we want to use Magic Shield? Probably I should. And I should probably use it on the Archmage. Now we're gonna use Holy Anger. Let's use it here. It doesn't really matter. I just want the rage out of it. It has the Holy... Oh, I should probably talk about the units that we just recruited. So Inquisitors are a holy unit, so more effective against undead and demons. They are true believers, so they don't mind the presence of undead in the army. No melee creature inflicts the same damage, or no melee penalty. They inflict the same damage in melee and with ranged attacks. They are casters, so ranged unit. But the main reason why we have them are their two abilities. Resurrection, because we only have 3 of them, they can only resurrect like really weak units, but the larger the stack becomes, the more they will be able to, the more hit points basically they will be able to resurrect. And you don't really have that many sources of resurrection magic in the game. That makes the Inquisitors very valuable in especially the mid game. And then they have Holy Anger. They have three charges. This is only 1 charge ability, so once per fight. Holy Anger has 3 charges. When we use this, and then for I think 3 turns, the target deals maximum damage, and our hero gains 3 to 10 rage. So this ability is a source of rage, like outside fighting. We don't have to take damage or deal damage to get rage, and that's also very valuable. So these are Inquisitors. And then we have Archmage. Again, they're casters, lightning based. Hits the target with lightning from any distance, inflict magic damage, and has a chance of shocking the target. Shock is quite an important debuff. Shocked or movement of shocked units is reduced to 1. Archmages have pretty high initiative, so even though it's not guaranteed, it does happen like from time to time that you hit a unit before it moves, and you reduce its movement to 1, so it basically wastes the target's turn. There are some units that have movement like 4 or 5. But if they get shocked, they're basically useless suddenly. So that's like the side effect of being lightning, that this is something that you can't really play around. But it can happen, and when it happens, then you can take advantage of it. They have magic protection, so that's 50% magic resistance, and persistence of mind. They're immune to like mind control effects in general. And they have decent amount of health because they're a level 4 unit. There are 5 levels of unit. 1 the weakest, 5 the strongest. Just an explanation. So they have a decent-ish amount of health for casters. Their overall numbers are not that great. They are more like a support unit. So their real strength lies in these 3 abilities. They have Magic Shield, gives the target a magical defense for 3 turns, during which time the target will take only half of any damage suffered. So 50% resistance to any damage. And it can be further like modified. If you have multiple buffs that reduce damage, they stack up. So if you do something like Stone Skin, Magic Shield, Divine Armor, there might be some other sources, Magic Spraying, I think. You can put all of that on one target, on one unit, and then you cast target on top of that, so you force all of the enemies to attack the buffed up unit. Then you create like a super tank that is not really taking any damage from anything. That's basically what I want to do, how I want to play through the mid game. So that's why I'm taking the mages. This is a super important ability to me. They have Fighting Trance, which buffs up their offensive ability. It's ability that doesn't have charges but reloads every 2 turns. The Magic Shield also, that's important, it doesn't have charges, it reloads every 2 turns, so we can keep casting this over and over again. The only ability that has charges is Telekinesis, which once per fight allows us to move a target unit by one tile. It's not much, but what this basically means in the early game is that it says move one weak unit or a unit that's almost dead into a trap and kill it by the trap. That's how we will be mostly using it. Or even later we'll be using, in a way, move a unit so that when it starts moving, it steps into a trap and wastes its turn. Because when a unit steps into a trap, its turn immediately ends. So that turns traps into like mini time walks. Okay, so these are the units that we are currently using. Crushing blow, there's no really meaningful use, we just want to do damage. And spit out that. You need to get a first level up for a dragon soon, because with the first level up you'll get the ability to dig up treasure chest on the battlefield. First of all, do that. We don't need to kill anything with the flaming arrow. We are getting what we need just from using the spell within the first 10 turns of combat. With trap we need to kill. With flaming arrow we just need to use it. We can try to attack here. If we shock them, yeah, we did shock them. That means instead of moving all the way to be able to basically attack us, these only move one tile and can't really do shit. Attack. Might as well kill something. Okay, so I'll go for Mana Accelerator. Gives more experience. Also, out of combat, we are regenerating mana very slowly. Oh, I just want to save time. I'll kill that. Try to shock these guys. Again, we succeeded with the shock. So the chance to shock is actually pretty decent. We can kill them. And the turn, since they are shocked, we may as well wait. Can we? I would kill them. So this way, I will actually completely refill the mana. Or almost. I'm not sure if we get 7, so almost completely refill it. Then we are getting, or one of the spells that we are rewarded for is if we use, I think it's Magic Shield, and this one, I'm pretty sure this one counts. So we want to use the shield now when we have the opportunity, even though the fight is over, and get the kill with the flaming arrow. This way we manage to get a little bit more out of this fight. So the dragonflies are dead, and here is the level up for a dragon that we wanted, and the ability called Treasure Searcher. A dragon may dig up any chests and other objects on the battlefield. Yep. We can loot that. And I think I'm gonna make a cut here, because actually, am I gonna make a cut here? We need to get at least one more level up, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I have to figure out how I'm gonna progress now. If I can get the chart that's on this island, but it's guided by that ugly monster. or if I'll have to go back to the other island and do some tricky kiting to get the chart there. We'll see about that. But I do need actually the one that's here. It's gonna be tricky. But I think we've done enough for this episode. We have the core of our army done. And the other units that we need, the very early game tanks for us will be paladins, but we are pretty sure we don't have access to them. I think they are guaranteed to be here at some point. Yeah, they are not there yet. And those we will switch for dragons once we get 1900 leadership. There is one place in the early game where you can get the green dragon. And the last unit, it's probably gonna be beholders for the early game that we will eventually, once we get to the continent of Verona, switch for assassins. So that's the plan. But as I said, we are done with this episode, so I hope that you liked it. I hope that you're gonna join me next time again. And until then, have a good time. Bye bye.